Tonight on Tom's Talk, we have a pretty good lineup. For all of you history buffs out there, this one's a doozy. It's a mysterious assassination that has made global headlines for generations, wrapped in secrecy for years. This case has been left unsolved, causing many people to come up with conspiracies, most of which have been tested and were debunked. But tonight, we have found two experts who say they know the real reason why one of our nation's greatest presidents was shot down nearly 50 years ago, and what they have to say might shock you. Welcome, Mrs. Crane and Mr. Johnson, to Tom's Talk. It's a pleasure having you guys here.
It's a pleasure to be here, Tom.
Thank you. All right, let's get right into it. Why are you here tonight?
Well, Tom, we have been researching this topic for several years, and we think we have finally found a solution to the Kennedy assassination.
That's a big claim to be making. This case has been shrouded in secrecy for years. Many people have come and gone with their own theories. What makes yours so different?
That it is, Tom. But in my honest opinion, after going through files and researching for several years on this topic, I can pretty much guarantee you that LBJ was the man behind it all.
LBJ? Lyndon B. Johnson? The man who took over for Kennedy after the assassination? The man who worked as the vice president for Kennedy during his presidency?
The very same.
Again, these are horrible accusations to be making against one of our nation's leaders. What makes you so sure that was LBJ? There are many theories that the mob was involved. Why not them?
Well, for one thing, it couldn't have been the mob. ABC News once interviewed the former NYPD of detectives, nationally accredited mafia expert Ralph Ciarleano, and he explained that while working with the House Select Committee on Assassinations to see if organized crime had anything to do with it, he couldn't come up with anything. He said that neither him nor the committee could come up with anything that could lead to connections with the mob, and that all evidence found pointed directly to LBJ.
Wow, that is compelling. So if it wasn't the mob, why LBJ?
The first reason was that LBJ had the motive to do it. He had political motive because of LBJ's legendary hatred of JFK, RFK, and the Kennedy family, which extended back to 1937 when LBJ was a freshman Texas congressman and fanatical follower of FDR's New Deal programs. JFK and RFK didn't want LBJ on the first ticket and was working to get him kicked off until the 1964 ticket. LBJ knew this and knew that he had to do something about it, and fast.
So you think he was planning this for a long time?
Definitely. In his book, Blood, Money, and Power, How LBJ Killed JFK, Barr McClellan tells the story of LBJ's plot to kill Kennedy. Martin Harris, the head of the law firm which represented LBJ's business interests, was told that by Edward A. Clark that Johnson gave him instructions and an envelope during a visit to the Johnson Ranch. In that envelope was the full outline of Kennedy's personal security Secret Service policy manual.
So Clark knew the inner workings of Kennedy's Secret Service?
That he did, Tom. Not only that, but he had connections to the CIA, and LBJ's murder plot is the only one that is logical. Other theories involve the CIA, and while they had good motives, the key factor of the LBJ outline is that he shows that he has the means and the opportunity, according to a number of researchers that had been studying the assassination.
So not only did LBJ hand over Kennedy's Secret Service information, but also he had a strong connection to the CIA? Fascinating.
It really is. And to think, it was an inside job.
Inside job, you say? Tell me about that.
Gladly. You see, the reason why the facts of the assassination were kept under wraps was that the CIA and the FBI were left to handle it. Keep in mind, the CIA had strong links with LBJ. The Warren Commission should have handled it and used their investigators for the job, but they relied on the CIA, also the FBI, to get the job done. The fire was put out before it could even start, Tom.
Interesting. So now we have connections to the CIA, Secret Service tampering, and now tampering with the actual investigation. This is a long list racking up against him.
Well, Tom, to add on to the list, not only was LBJ linked to the killing of JFK, but he was even involved the gunman who shot the president down. The man that was thought to kill JFK, Jack Ruby, a person linked to killing Oswald, the original murderer of JFK, was quoted agreeing to the statement that LBJ was part of the assassination. He said he would refuse to actually admit to anyone, but if Adlai Stevenson was vice president, there would never have been an assassination of our beloved President Kennedy. The reporter then asked him about who he was alluding to when he said that, well, the answer is the man in office now.
So he practically outed LBJ right there.
Yes, he did, Tom.
Wow, that's very compelling evidence.
I know, and it doesn't stop there. In an interview with Abby Martin, Stone said the most interesting evidence supporting the accusation that LBJ was behind the murder was from the fingerprint of LBJ's personal hitman, Malcolm Mack Wallace, that was found on a box that was located on the same floor that Oswald shot Kennedy.
Well, the evidence just keeps racking up against him.
I know, and even more than that, Jackie and Robert Kennedy believed that he was behind it. His wife and mistress of 21 years did too. She said that the night before JFK was assassinated, that LBJ said to her, "And tomorrow those goddamn Kennedys will never embarrass me again." That's no threat, that's a promise. Therefore, that also proves that he knew it was going to happen.
Did he really?
Yes, he did. Stone also said in an interview that during the infamous drive on Elm Street into Dealey Plaza, that even before the first shot fired, Johnson hit the deck.
So he'd already known the assassination was going to take place before it even happened?
Yep.
Well, you seem to really make a compelling case. It was nice having you guys here. Thank you for sharing tonight.
No, Tom. Thank you.
Well, you've heard it here first, folks. From Secret Service journals to murder plots, LBJ seems to have his cards played against him. While the true murder of John F. Kennedy will never be found, LBJ seems to be a real suspect in the Kennedy assassination. This was Tom Randell for Tom's Talk. Unfortunately, my time is up. Until next time, good night, everyone.